I want to take a step back just for people who are listening and say that there are many reasons that I wanted to have this conversation with you. And it is not specifically related to gambling in the sense that there are many things that interest me about your life and your thinking. And my hope is that for people listening, they get a window into at least two things. One would be your methods of thinking, frameworks for thinking, how you think about thinking, and then also your personal approach to health and fitness. Because as people may have picked up with some of the references, could you tell everyone listening what your age is as we speak today?
I'm 89.
And for those people who can't see video, you look like you're in your 60s. And I am just beyond excited to hop right into that. So we're going to jump around quite a bit. We won't do this exactly chronologically, but could you perhaps describe your approach to health and fitness? And you could tackle that starting wherever you like. Is it just that you were given the right parents and out of the box have tremendous genetics? Is there more to it? How would you begin to unpack this?
I kind of wandered into health and fitness by accident initially, just like I wandered into blackjack and roulette. I'm curious and always looking for things to understand. And I like the idea of self-improvement too. So I was walking behind the student co-op one night when I was about 20 and heard a bunch of clanking. And I looked down in the basement and there were some fairly burly guys down there pumping iron. And I walked in and I said, this is a waste of time. This is ridiculous. So one of them said to me, I'll bet you a milkshake that if you work out with us for a year, just 1 hour an evening, 3 evenings a week, you'll double your strength in a set of exercises that they describe. So I said, I don't believe it. Let's try it. So I went down and the 4 exercises were the squat with a barbell on a rack, the military overhead press, the bench press, and deadlift. Oh, deadlift? No, it wasn't deadlift. It was something else. I forgot the 4th one at the moment, but I'll think of it.
Clean and jerk, maybe? Who knows? Or bent row?
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
But a compound exercise like the others.
Yeah, so there was a 4th exercise. So anyhow, what happened was I was I wouldn't say 98-pound weakling, but maybe a 150-pound weakling. And at the end of a year, I could military press 185, which was at least double what I started with. I could bench press 375. I could do 15 at 325, and I could squat with 375. I could do sets, and forget what the other one was. Wish I could remember it. In any case, I was astounded that all this came to pass. So it made me pay attention to strength at least. And some time went by, and I did a little swimming because I got interested in scuba diving. And then one day in my 30s, I was jogging along the beach with my brother-in-law, and he said, let's go for a little jog. I went for about a quarter mile, and I was gasping. I was 35 then, I remember. And I said, this is awful. I'm in terrible shape. I have to do something about this. So they had a book on aerobics by somebody named Ken Cooper, who had a lab down in Texas and started, in large part, the aerobics revolution that swept the country. So I started keeping track of his points. He gave you points for various degrees of aerobic effort. I think if you did a mile in between 12 and 15 minutes, you got 1 point. And you did between 10 and a half and 12, you got 2 points, and so forth. So I started trying to run a mile a day, and I did that. Well, I ran a mile every Saturday to start with. And then one Saturday, I decided to try a little further. So I ran 2, and then 3. And then I said, I'll try a 10-mile race. So I got into a 10-mile race, which was kind of foolish. But I finished, and I did reasonably well. So then I said, I'll try a marathon. So then I got into marathon running. And I really liked that. I did that for about 20 years until I hurt my back weightlifting. All my bad events have been from pushing myself athletically. So hurting my back was probably the worst single thing. I herniated a disc, so I had to stop heavy pounding and heavy running. But 20 years of road running and, well, more than that, maybe 25 years, and marathoning gave me, I think, a very good base for going forward. And so now I do things like walk about 3 miles 3 or 4 times a week, and I spend about 2 days in the gym doing stretching and strength exercising, core strengthening, and so on. A lot of emphasis on core because of my back, which is just fine now.
I was just going to ask how your approach seems like it has evolved and changed over time. Say after 50 years of age, or in the last, say, 40 years or so, are there any particular changes that you made in addition to the core strengthening to support the back that you think have contributed to your longevity?
I've evolved. I try to listen to my body. So I do what I enjoy. And the rule I started to follow was some is better than none, and more up to a point is better than less. So there's no excuse. I mean, if you tell yourself, gee, I'm not going to do this because I can't do the whole program, that's a big mistake. Just start doing it. And I find that if you start doing it and you get used to it, you find more and more things that you kind of like that you can build on. And then you just keep getting better at it. Mm. I was probably in my best shape at around 55 to 65 because of all this.
Wow, that is inspiring. I am just about to turn 45, and even amongst my, just to say, age cohort, it's very common for me to see people giving up even in their 40s and blaming it on age. But with you sitting in front of me describing your trajectory and sort of adaptive habits, I feel like those excuses don't hold a whole lot of weight. Is there any other advice?
One thing that's pretty neat is race walking. I did that for a while, and that's something that is lower impact than running, but you can get the same kind of aerobic workout. So that's something I'd direct people towards.
What does your strength training look like now or over the last few decades?
As I get older, it declines. I get weaker, and it gets a little harder to do things. And I feel a little tired. I can't do as many reps or sets of things. So I have a mix of things that I do now. I will do squats, and usually now just body weight. And I'll do dumbbell squats or lunges with a lot of emphasis on one leg and then shift and do a lot of weight on the other leg. Do pull-ups. And I think the best I've done recently, which is not very much, is 4 underhand pull-ups and 2 overhand pull-ups. I used to be able to, 10 years ago, I could do a dozen of each. And let's see what else. Well, I do a lot of back exercises regularly on the mat. And that's very helpful for keeping my back in shape and keeping my core in pretty good condition.